Hello and welcome to Let's Translate Manga, Colette Decides to Die, Part 2. If you have not seen Part 1 yet, pause this video and watch Part 1 first, as this will make a little more sense if you do. Check the doobly-doo for show notes and other information, and let's just jump into it. So we left off on page 12 of Volume 1, and so now I'm starting on page 13. Hades has just slipped his hand out from behind the curtain, and it's right in front of Colette's face. She says, and then she thinks, "Nani kore? Aza? Yakedo?" And then then Hades says, "Kore o naoseru no ka, musume?" Let's see what the patrons did. So patron A translated it as, what's this? Bruising? Burns? And then Hades says, "Can this be healed? Girl?" Patron B translated that as, "Let's see. What are those marks? Bruising? Burns?" And then Hades says, "Can you fix me? Girl?" Just a reminder, in case you're wondering why musume has been translated as girl, musume does not always literally mean daughter. It sometimes just means girl. Patron C translated it as, "Oh, what are those marks? Bruises? Burns?" Hades says, "Are you able to cure me, girl?" All of these translations are extremely similar so far. Patron D translated it as, what's this? A bruise or burn maybe? Hades says, "Tell me, girl, can you fix this?" Okay, so Patron D is the only one I think that struck me as being different significantly. The rest, it's pretty much basically, oh, what are these markings, bruises or burns? And then he says, "Hey, can you fix me, girl?" But Patron D made the choice to, like, you notice how these words are separated in the balloons, right? Kore o naoseru no ka, musume. In Japanese, the musume is by itself in the one very small balloon, and the "can you fix me" is in the larger balloon. And all of the patrons A through C translated that like as it was in Japanese, where like, "Can you fix me" in the bigger balloon, and then "girl" in the smaller balloon. Whereas patron D translated that as, "Tell me, girl, can you fix this?" That's an interesting choice. I think it is perhaps maybe a little odd to have "girl" by itself in a speech bubble. In Japanese, it's quite natural to be like, "Can you fix this, girl?" In English, we often start by addressing the person by their name or their title first. Instead of being like, in Japanese, you'd be like, "Hey, can you fix my wounds, Sarah?" In English, we would say, "Hey, Sarah, can you fix my wounds?" See how it flows so much more naturally in English to put the term of address at the beginning? So that would be my only remark on, yeah, it is perhaps a little strange to have "girl" by itself in that small balloon. But again, if you look at the balloons, like, it's a small balloon, "girl" would fit really perfectly in there. But it is a little odd, I'd say, if you're imagining this being lettered. Maybe if I have the energy when I'm editing this, I will letter this little frame right here, just so you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, the "girl" by itself in that balloon, it is a little odd. If it came first, if it was like, "Hey, girl," and then new balloon, "Can you fix me?" or "Can you fix this? Can you cure this?" I think that would actually make more sense in English. But yeah, I don't disagree with the choice that patron D made to have "this" by itself in the balloon. I don't know that the "this" needs that much emphasis. "Can you fix this?" Because it would work if he like was putting his hand out as he was saying "this." But he already had his hand out. She's already seen it. She's already like, "Hey, what is that? Bruises?" So maybe it's a little strange to add the emphasis on the "this." But I do like that choice of having "this" in that smaller balloon, because again, it is odd to have like "girl" at the end of the sentence instead of at the beginning. The other patrons weren't wrong though. Let's move on. Colette asks, "Nani ga attan desu ka?" And then Hades ... Colette, "Kiitemasu?" And then Colette, and then Hades says, "Naoseru no ka, naosanai no ka, kiiteiru." Just a quick note, like as I'm reading it now and fumbling to tell who's saying which lines, it's actually rather obvious. If you notice, the font for Hades is a bit different from Colette, so it should be obvious. Also, his speech pattern is way different. Anyway, then there's sound effects, ira. Colette thinks to herself, "Kaiwa ga kamiawanai n da kedo, kakawaritaku na... ... So she's about to say "kakawaritaku nai," but she's pausing. She's like, and then she corrects herself, "Dame da, watashi shokugyo byo da wa." And then that sound effect again from last episode, "giri giri 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 giri." All right, so let's see how the patrons translated that exchange. Patron A, what happened to you? Can you tell me? Hades says, I'm asking you whether you can heal it or not. Colette's thoughts. He won't engage in conversation at all. I really don't want to get involved, but I'm hopeless. It's my own disease as a physician. And then Patron A did not translate the giddy 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 sound effect. I'm just going to say right off the bat, it's my own disease as a physician is a very literal translation of these kanji, and it's actually not what shokugyo byo means. Let's go on to the next patron. Patron B translated it as, how did this happen? Did you hear me? And then Hades says, can you fix me or not? Sound effect. Ch. Colette thought, he won't answer me. I want to earn more. Occupational hazard, I guess. And then the sound effects. Yeah, I misspoke. There was no giddy 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 sound effect. I was thinking of the kugigigigigi from the previous page. Anyway, yes, shokugyo byo is occupational hazard. It's not like a disease from work. I mean, you know, kind of literally, that's what an occupational hazard is, I suppose. Hazard of the job. Okay, patron C translated the exchange as, what happened to you? Did you hear me? And then Hades says, I asked only whether you can cure me or not. Sound effect, irk. Colette narration, it's like he's not even listening. I don't want to deal with... why do I have to be such a workaholic? Sound effects, grind, grind, grind. Yes, workaholic is great for shokugyo byo. I think that's better in this context. Patron D, what exactly happened? Did you hear me? Hades, I'm asking whether you can cure this or not. Sound effect, grr. Colette, he won't cooperate one bit, but I don't want to get involved. It's no use. Call it an occupational hazard. Grind, 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 grind. Okay, we do have some variety here. So yeah, aside from the occupational hazard / workaholic thing, yeah, that's more what it is. It's like my own disease as a physician. That's kind of not wrong if you're really thinking about it literally. It's like, you know, being a physician gave me this disease that makes me prone to wanting to tell if, you know, what disease somebody else has. But yeah, workaholic is really, I think, the best in this context. Did you hear me from patrons B through D? And can you tell me from patron A? It's not can you tell me. Kitemasu is more like, hey buddy, are you listening to me? Or hello, Earth to Hades. It is kind of rude, actually, like phrase like that, kitemasu. It's like, are you okay, buddy? It's not really can you tell me. Hades, I'm asking you whether you can heal it or not from patron A. Can you fix me or not from patron B? I like that. See, notice how her reaction is anger, ira, which, again, there was a bit wide variety of translations for ira. From patron A, we don't have a translation because patron A doesn't translate the sound effects most of the time. Patron B, we have tch, which is sort of like, you know, a clicking of the tongue in an irritated way. Irk from patron C. I like irk a lot for ira. And then gur from patron D. Yeah, indicating anger and annoyance. So it's kind of important that what Hades says here is the kind of thing that would piss her off. So phrasing it a little more like demandingly, like patron B did, was good. Like, hey, can you fix me or not? And then she gets angry as a result. Patron C, I asked only whether you can cure me or not. It's a little long, it's a little wordy. And again, it's a little more polite. It wouldn't necessarily make her get angry. I'm asking whether you can cure this or not from patron B. Kind of the similar vibe. I really like patron B's. It's a little more, not rude. It's just like, look, can you fix me or not? And then it justifies her getting angry. And then her, kaiwa ga kami awanai n da kedo. Kaiwa ga kami awanai is kind of like an idiom. It really means like we're talking past each other. She wants to know what happened. He's just like, look, just fix me. And they're talking past each other. I don't think any of the patrons phrased it that way. He won't engage in conversation at all. That's not wrong. And that still is kind of the heart of it. He won't engage in conversation at all. Patron B, he won't answer me. I mean, it's a nice, short, concise way of wording the frustration of them talking past each other. Like, he's not answering her, i.e. he's talking past her. So that's another way of wording that. Patron C, it's like he's not even listening. Same deal there. It's like we're talking past each other because he's not listening. And then patron D, he won't cooperate one bit. I like he won't cooperate. That's a nice workaround. And then as you notice with the punctuation in the Japanese here, kakawaritaku na ... dameda. So she's like, I don't want to deal with this guy. And then she stops mid-sentence, and then there's a long pause, and then she says, fuck me. I'm a workaholic. Not that profane, of course, but that vibe somewhat. It's like, damn, I'm such a workaholic. Damn my workaholic nature kind of thing. Patron A, I really don't want to get involved, but I'm hopeless. It's my own disease. Well, it's my own disease as a physician. We already covered that's not exactly right, but I don't really want to get involved, but I'm hopeless. Patron B, I kind of like what patron B did here with like I want to earn more, because if you look at this, I want to leave, it could be I want to leave. And then patron B made her turn around and go, learn. I want to learn more. Occupational hazard, I guess. I really like that. It wasn't in the Japanese. That didn't exist, but it's adding another layer to the English that is funny. Because it's still the vibe. This moment is funny. This manga is funny. Colette is this kind of character. She's very quippy. At least in this scene she is. I don't know about the rest of the series. So yeah, I really like this. This is a way that I would call this found in translation, not lost in translation. I want to learn more instead of leave. Patron C, I don't want to deal with, why do I have to be such a workaholic? Yeah, I mean, patron C could have kind of done the same thing that patron B did and be like, I don't want to deal with, why do I have to be such a workaholic? If you had kept that W. But it's fine, like you don't need to do that. Why do I have to be such a workaholic is great. Grind for that sound effect. Hern from patron B, to me that's a little abstract. Like if you look at what's going on, it's just her eye with like little stress marks next to it. So I don't know. Hern. I guess that might be a teeth grinding sound effect, but again, it's kind of hard to tell because you're just seeing her eyeball. I kind of like grind, although then again, like grinding what? That's hard, man. Like giddy. I'm imagining the grinding of teeth here, but you're closing up on her eye. So yeah, grind is probably good. And patron D also went with grind, but I don't want to get involved, ... It's no use, call it an occupational hazard. Okay, so the next panel, she's thinking, nan no yamai ka kini naru. And then she says, hey, shitsurei shimasu. And then the sound effects, ba. Patron A translated that as, I have to know about his illness. And then she says, that's it, I'm coming in, no sound effect translation. Patron B says, I gotta find out what's wrong with him. Pardon me, swash. I like swash for parting the curtain. Patron C, I want to know what's behind these symptoms. Colette, all right, I'm coming in. Sound effects, bwap. Bwap is kind of cool for curtain sound effect. Patron D, but I'm dying to know what his disease is. Pardon the intrusion, flap. A is, it's like a, fuck it. It really is that vibe. It's not vulgar, but it's like, God damn it. Or it's like, fuck it. It really is like that. Just not profane. But that's the vibe of A. And nan no yamai ka kini naru. There's a lot of intensity here. I gotta find out what's wrong with him from patron B is great. It has that intensity. Pardon me is fine. You don't need to keep in the A. Because again, fuck it is the perfect translation for it. But I don't think that would fly with this series. I think that would be censored. Screw it. You could say screw it for A. I think that would work. Patron C, I want to know what's behind these symptoms is a little too wordy and a little too, I don't know, noble sounding. It's really more like Colette's being selfish. She's like, ugh, I have to know what happens next. I have to know what's wrong with him, sort of thing. I want to know what's behind these symptoms. Also, it's not even symptoms in Japanese. It's like, I really want to know like what this illness is. You know, again, it's not wrong. It's just a little wordy and a little too, I don't know, serious. But I'm dying to know what this disease is from patron B. I like the dying to know. And then patron A, I saved to the end for some reason. I have to know about his illness. About his illness is a little odd. That's it, I'm coming in. I really like that's it, I'm coming in from patron A. I think that's a great representation of A. Like, screw it, I'm coming in. That's it, I'm coming in. That's a way of wording it without being profane. All right, I'm gonna go feed my kittens and my eldest cat, and then I'll come back and do the next page. Okay, page 14. This has very little text on it, so we'll do the entire page in one go. So you see Hades, and he is a certified bishi. I'm dating myself here. He's an ikemen. Okay. And Colette says, "Anata ga hadesu-sama." Okay, you know what? I'm going to go on to the next page because I have a feeling "Anata ga hadesu-sama" is extremely basic, and I think all the translations are going to be similar. So let's go on. She asks, "Do saretan desu ka, kore?" And then Hades says, "Bureimono." Sound effects, su. And then he says, "Yurushi mo naku, o no neya ni hairi, kuchi no kikikata mo shiranu to wa akireta musume da." And then Colette responds with the sound effect, muka. All right, so the first page, the entire page 14, let's see if there's any variety at all from the patrons. Patron A, "You're Lord Hades." Patron B, "You're the Lord Hades." So a bold italicized "you're." I like that actually because she's surprised. It's like, wait, this is not what I was expecting. Patron C, "You're ... Lord Hades." And then patron D, "So you're King Hades." So you're, interesting. Yeah, but it does have that like, so you're like not somebody else. I was expecting somebody else, but you're King Hades. I like patron B's choice the best of just bold and italicizing it. You can add a lot of emotionality and intention and subtext to that just by italicizing a word. Okay, so the rest of that, patron A, "How did this happen to you?" Hades, "How insolent. Entering the king's bedchamber without permission and then talking like that. I can't believe you, girl." Sound effects, humph. All right, patron, I like the character voice there already. I'm going to say that. I like insolent. Patron B, "What happened to you? Rude, swip. You dare barge into a lord's bedchamber without an iota of respect. Confounded girl." Sound effect, twitch. Excellent character voice again. I don't know about rude. Rude is kind of more contemporary, like, rude. However, it is a small balloon. So, you know, let's see what patron C did. "What exactly did you do?" Sound effect, whip. Hades, "Insolent girl. You would enter a king's bedchamber without leave and seem not to know how to speak in my presence. I tire of your attitude." Sound effect, snap. Everyone has a really nice character voice for Hades. I'm enjoying this. Okay, Colette, "How did you end up like this?" Hades, "How rude. Fwish. You enter a king's chambers without permission and speak in that tone. What an insolent brat. Fume," for the sound effect. Okay. Yeah, there's a great character voice for Hades in all of these translation. I like how pretty much everybody called it a chamber or a bed chamber. Yeah, and neya is an odd word. You don't see that word that often for a bedroom. Yeah, how insolent. The word insolent, I like the word insolent a lot, but it is long, so the letterer would have to hyphenate that, and then it wouldn't have the same impact. Rude, again, from patron B is a bit contemporary, I feel, but it would fit the bubble nicely. So you win in that regard. Insolent girl from patron C. Yeah, I like insolent. Insolent girl, I dig. But again, insolent is a bit long for the balloon. And then how rude from patron D. I think patron D has the best compromise here. How rude makes it a little less rude and more just like something Hades would actually say, how rude. And it still is short enough. The words, individual words, are short enough to fit in that balloon nicely. The sound effect of su in this case, again, I talked about su in the last episode of Colette Decides to Die. It's a very multi-purpose sound effect. It's like a swishing sort of sound effect. And if you look at this frame, it's basically the sound of Hades like kind of slipping away and turning his head away from her and lifting up a sheet, basically. So you could translate that a number of different ways. Patron A did not do a translation of that sound effect. Patron B did swip. I like swip. I think we're going with like a head turn and a sheet. Shush. Patron C translated that as fwip. I like fwip as well. I think fwip without the I, fwip, is good for that too. And then fush from Patron D, similar vibe. Yeah, these are all pretty good for su in this case. So everyone did very similar translations for the first part, Yurushi mo naku o no nea ni hairi. That's that second balloon, that like tail end of the balloon, akireta musume da. Patron A translated that as I can't believe you, girl. Girl, I don't know, it might just be me, but having girl like that, I automatically go, I can't believe you, girl. And girl, you know that you're the only girl for me. Girl, you're the girl. It's just kind of where my mind goes. Even though he is saying, you know, musume, which is like girl. I don't know, something like wench might be nice. Brat, I think, is good. I think one of the patrons used brat. Confounded girl, I really like, from Patron B. And then Patron C did I tire of your attitude. It's not so much I tire of your attitude. It's not wrong. She hasn't given him very much attitude yet. Like, they've barely had any interactions. So to say that he tires of her attitude is a little premature, I feel. I'm being extremely nitpicky here. You would enter a king's bedchamber without leave is a little odd too. I don't know if this is the correct usage of without leave. Without leave, meaning, sometimes you have to look up things in English. Yeah, absent without authority, legal definition of without leave, absence of employee without leave. Yeah, I'm not sure this is the correct usage of without leave. It you know, without permission is really what it is here. And seem not to know how to speak in my presence. And Patron C's Achilles heel seems to be just overwordiness in general. Look at Patron B. You dare barge into a lord's bedchamber without an iota of respect. That condenses everything that Hades is saying into a much shorter sentence, and it's snappy, and it still is in his character voice. Yeah, Patron D too. You enter a king's chambers without permission and speak in that tone. What an insolent brat. Yeah, that's snappier and a little more concise. Patron A entering the king's bedchamber without permission and then talking like that. I can't believe you, girl. Yeah, I don't know. I think the tone may be a little bit off here. Maybe it would be a little stronger if it were a question, the first part. Entering a king's bedchamber without permission and then talking like that, like with bold italics. I can't believe you, girl. Or I can't believe you, brat. I think that would make it a little stronger. Otherwise, fine. Sound effect humph for muka. So muka is a sound effect for somebody being pissed off. Humph is more like a defiant, sort of like humph. Like, I'm right, you're wrong. But it can also be like a huff of anger. But yeah, muka is more like just like you're pissed. Patron B translated that as twitch. That's an interesting choice. But if you look at her face in this frame, I can imagine like an eyebrow twitching. So I think it works in this particular frame, in this particular context. Yeah, I don't really see humph from her here. Huff might work, or snort. Snap from Patron C, that's kind of cool too. So it's like her patient's snapping, or she's snapping, she's angry. She's about to yell at him in the next frame. So snap is a nice precursor to that. And then Patron D, fume. Fume is nice because you're on fire with anger. So I like all those. Let's do the next frame where she's pissed and yelling at Hades. あなただってこっちの質問無視したじゃない。直す気があるならとっとと中に入れなさいよ。平服でもしろっての? And then a big sound effect, ずい. And then another smaller sound effect, ぐ. 王様だろうが神様だろうがくすしの前じゃ患者の一人なのよ. Alright, so this is her ranting, losing her temper at the king of the underworld. Patron A translated that as, you're the one who's ignoring my questions. If you want to be healed, then hurry up and let me in. Do you want me to kneel? I don't care whether you're a king or a god. To a physician, you're just another patient. And then Patron B, you're the one who ignored my questions. If you want healed, typo there, if you want healed, if you want to be healed, if you want healed, you should be rolling over and begging me to see you. Glare, grab. I don't care if you're a lord or a god in front of me, you're just another patient. Patron C, we're getting some variety already. Patron C, well, what was I supposed to do? You ignored my question. If you're really interested in healing, you should hurry up and let me in. Do you expect me to just do nothing? Bam, humph, king or god or whoever you may be, in front of an herbalist, you're just a patient. Okay. Patron D, you're the one ignoring my questions. If you want to get better, then hurry up and let me in. Do you expect me to grovel? Fierce, snag. Doesn't matter whether you're a god or a king. To a healer, you're just another patient. Yeah, so Patron D, I think, is the only one who really got heifuku demo shirotten no correct. It's like, what do you want me to do? Grovel? That really is the vibe there. Patron D did you expect me to just do nothing? That's not correct. So yeah, heifuku suru is to like prostrate, to grovel, to bow before somebody. And she's asking, hey, what do you want me to do? Grovel? What do you want me to do? Kiss your feet? It's like, what am I supposed to do? I really like from Patron C that initial, well, what was I supposed to do? That captures the vibe of what do you want me to do? Grovel? So if Patron C just deleted, did you expect me to just do nothing? This would actually be fine. Well, what was I supposed to do? You ignored my question. If you're really interested in healing, you should hurry up and let me in. Anata datte kochi no shitsumon mushi shita janai. This datte is saying, like, you're accusing me of ignoring you? Like, you're the one who's doing this. So Patron D was really wise to do the bold italics with you're the one ignoring my questions. That really captures the datte in there. Patron D, if you want to get better, then hurry up and let me in. Do you expect me to grovel? I really like that. It's concise, it gets to the point, and that this is what she's saying. Patron B, you're the one who ignored my questions. Yeah, again, that would be stronger if all you did was make the you're italicized or bold or something. If you want to be healed, you should be rolling over and begging me to see you. That's not actually what she was saying. It's more like, were you expecting me to, grovel and beg to be your herbalist? And then Patron A, you're the one who's ignoring my questions. Again, it would be stronger if your was bolder or italic. If you want to be healed, then hurry up and let me in. Do you want me to kneel? That's correct, actually. This is a correct translation. But do you want me to kneel doesn't quite capture it. Again, you could consider this as a question asked in earnest. Do you want me to kneel? Versus with Patron D, it's clear she's being sarcastic. Do you expect me to grovel? Grovel is more clearly like prostrate yourself before me and be like, oh, I am a lowly human, let me please heal you, Lord Hades. Whereas do you want me to kneel could be interpreted a little more neutrally. But Patron A's translation is bang on right here otherwise. Patron A, I don't care whether you're a king or a god. To a physician, you're just another patient. This is exactly what she's saying here. Patron B, I don't care if you're a lord or a god in front of me, you're just another patient. Same thing, except instead of physician, it's just me. In Japanese, she said in front of a physician, but she's talking about herself here, so it was not wrong to say in front of me. King or god or whoever you may be, in front of an herbalist, you're just a patient. I like king or god or whoever you may be. It's really the vibe is like, I don't care, like, osama darouga, kami-sama darouga. Look at the extensions on the hiragana. And she's tearing him a new one. She's being very angry here. It's like, I don't give a shit if you're a god or a king. Like, I'm a physician and you're my patient. That kind of thing. Let's look at those sound effects. Patron A did not do the sound effects. Patron B did the sound effects as glare and grab. Zui is interesting. Zui could be a number of things. Zui is kind of like nudging and leaning in like really hard. So glare is fine in that instance because something like nudge or lean might not be so strong here, but glare really gets the point across. She's glaring at him too. Patron C translated it as bam and humph. It's not really bam. There's no like door to be slammed here that would make the bamming sound. I suppose it could be the sound of her hands like slamming against his bed. That could be that sound. And bam also implies violence and anger, which we have here. So again, that works. Fierce for Zui from Patron D. It's another choice. It's kind of along the lines of glare from Patron B. It's more looking at her emotionality in that movement rather than the movement itself. So yeah, Zui is interesting and it can be done a number of ways and those ways all worked. The next frame, I'm gonna let my cat out of the bathroom first. Okay, so the next frame, Well, first you have Hades just kind of staring blankly, and then all the skeletons let Colette have it. Nante musume da, fuke de aru zo. Sugu ni koyatsu wo hori dashite. Awa wa wa. For the sound effect. Hadesu-sama moshiwake gozaimasen. Let's see how the patrons translated these skeletons. Patron A, irreverence! What are you saying, girl? Throw this wretch out immediately! Lord Hades, we're terribly sorry. Sound effects, panicking. Again, excellent character voices. Part of why I'm really glad we're doing this series is just these characters are a lot of fun, really fun voices. Patron B, oh dear, she's gone too far. We're very sorry, Lord Hades. We'll remove her at once. Fumble. This one is not as character voicey, but it does the trick, and it is what they're saying. And these balloons are awfully small, so I think that's probably what Patron B was trying to do here, keep it tight. Patron C, what an awful girl, running her mouth like that. Milord should cast her out at once. Forgive us, Lord Hades. Sound effects, panic. I like Milord. What an awful girl, running her mouth off like that might be a little too big for those first balloon situation. Just awful girl, running her mouth off. Patron D, this girl, what blasphemy. Toss her out at once. I like blasphemy. And then quiver for the sound effect. I like quiver. Awa is like it's a frantic, panicky sort of sound effect. It's like when people kind of are running around like chickens with their heads cut off, like, oh, whoa. Stammering and such, kind of like what these skeletons are doing. So panic works, quiver works, fumble works. Yeah, I like Patron A's like the best for character voice. Irreverence! What are you saying, girl? Throw this wretch out immediately. And I like Patron B's for its shortness, for, being able to fit better in the balloons. Oh dear, she's gone too far. We're very sorry, Lord Hades. We'll remove her at once. It still gets all the information across. It sacrifices a bit of character voice, but it'll fit the balloons better. And then Patron C, what an awful girl, running her mouth off like that. Milord should cast her out at once. Forgive us, Lord Hades. I like forgive us, Lord Hades. You don't have to always translate things like moshiwake arimasen or sumimasen or gomen nasai. You don't always have to translate those as I'm sorry. You can translate those as forgive me if it suits the scene better or the character better. And I like forgive us for Lord Hades because, I mean, he's god of the underworld. So forgive us does seem warranted. And Patron D, I really like, what blasphemy, toss her out at once. And Patron D also went for shortness, I believe. This girl? Oh, okay, this is technically the same balloon. This girl, what blasphemy. Toss her out at once. Our apologies, Your Highness. I don't know if I got that in the last time I read it. This is nice and concise as well. Toss her out at once versus like you should get rid of her at once. Sugu ni koyatsu wo hori dashite. That could be actually interpreted as, don't worry, we will toss this wretch out immediately and do something else. But usually if you have the te form of the verb at the end of the sentence like that, it's more like a command. Like, you must get her out of here at once. But skeletons would not be giving Hades commands like that, so I do prefer saying, like, we will toss her out immediately. Moving on, Hades responds, Yoi, omae tachi wa sagatte iro. Skeletons say, Desu ga! Hades says, Yoi, sagare. And then Colette goes, Ha! And then she's speaking really small without any Ruby text. Do ni modoru chansu wo jibun de tsubushita, ... is what she's saying in that very small text. All right, let's see how the patrons translated that. My kitty is snooping around my camera. She wants her dinner. It's not time yet, honey. Another hour. Then you get your insulin shot. Okay. So, patron A, hey, all of you stand down, skeleton, but Hades, stand down, Colette, ack, I ruined my chance to go back to prison. Yeah, so yoi actually means more like no matter, or it's okay in modern English, but yoi is older Japanese, so it's more like no matter, or, it's all right. Like the skeletons are saying, we'll get rid of her at once. And he's like, no, you don't have to do that, is his response. So hey isn't exactly correct, but it's short and it's a very small balloon. So it works. I like stand down for sagare or sagateiro. Sagateiro is more like stay back, stay away, leave my presence sort of thing. But stand down is fine because they're like about to get up in arms and like do some damage. And he's like, nope, stand down. All right, patron B. The girl stays. Leave us be, skeleton. But Lord Hades, do as I say. Colette, I ruined my chance to get back to my cell. Yeah, I like cell instead of prison. Because again, prison more implies, you know, like federal detention centers where modern people go to get incarcerated. I like cell. It's shorter as well. The girl stays. That's a really nice extrapolation of yoi. Again, yoi means like the skeletons are saying, we're going to get rid of her. And he's like, no, don't do that. Basically, the girl stays. And the girl stays is, the words are all nice and short. So you could do the on the top, girl in the middle, and stays on the bottom, and it would all still fit in that balloon. It'd be a bit small, but it would still fit. So that works out really nicely. I like leave us be instead of, you know, you guys go away is kind of what he's saying in Japanese. But leave us be is another way of saying, like, go away. But Lord Hades, do as I say. This is a good example of, like, you know, wording things in another way, but still saying the same thing. And also extrapolating from what you have in Japanese. Patron C, Hades says, I see. That's not correct. But again, it's short words. Servants, you are free to go. Skeleton says, but Hades says, I'm fine. Go. I'm fine. I don't know about that. Yoi. Again, yoi. Oh man, it can mean so many different things. In modern Japanese, he would be saying I, or ii desu, or ii da, or inda, with a hiragana in there. But yeah, he's basically telling the skeletons, like, hey guys, it's okay. You can go now. Leave us alone, man. So yeah, it works. I'm fine. I'm fine. I don't know. I'm fine implies more like the skeletons are worried that she's going to hurt him or something, and then he's like, I'm fine. I don't know. It's a little odd for me, but it's not really wrong. Patron D translated that as fine for the yoi. All of you stand down, skeletons, but Hades, I said stand down. And then Colette goes, ack! There goes my last chance to return to my cell. I like ack for ha, that gasping sound effect. Incidentally, oh my God, pet peeve. I hate it when letterers I know it's not their fault necessarily. It's probably often the editor that does this, but like ha, I don't think should ever be translated as just ha. It bugs the hell out of me. It should be gasp or blink or ack or, you know, something else. Ha is just not great. When you're reading it in English, you just go ha, and it's like laughter. And I don't know, it just does not work for me. Anyway, that was my little side rant about the sound effect ha. But yeah, I like Patron D's choice to make it ack. Patron C did gasp. Yay! I like gasp for ha. I just ruined my chance to go back to jail. Although jail, again, it's like that makes me think of a correctional facility in the modern era rather than her dungeon or her cell. Okay, let's move on. I have to get my squawking cat out of the bathroom first. Okay, I'm back. This whole episode has been punctuated with cat feedings. It's so complicated because they all have a different diet, and one of my cats is diabetic and needs insulin shots with her food, and my husband is asleep right now, so I'm doing it all by myself. Okay, anyway, next page. Wow, look at that. Okay, smaller text. Sarah moves her computer close to her eyes so she can read it. Hades says, "Kimi wa ru garu ka to omotta n da, naoseru n da na." And then Colette says, どういう状況でこうなったのか言ってくださると早いんですけどね. And then Hades, after a pause, goes, じゃあいい。熱だけ下げてくれ. All right, so let's look at this little exchange. Patron A, Hades says, I thought this would disturb you. You can heal it, right? And he's explaining here, because of the nda at the end, omotta nda, he's explaining that's why I was acting out like that earlier. I thought this would disturb you. You can heal it, right? Colette says, it would be quicker if you could tell me what happened to make you like this. And then Hades says, fine, just bring down my fever then. Yep, that's pretty much it. Patron B, Hades says, I thought my state would unnerve you, but you can heal me? I like unnerve you. Colette says, I could do it faster if you tell me how you got this way. I like that. That's a little cleaner, I think, than the way Patron A worded that. It would be quicker if you could tell me what happened to make you like this. Yeah, what made you this way versus what made you like this. How you got this way. I think that's a little shorter, definitely, and a little cleaner. Then Hades says, fine then, at least do something about my fever. I think we're missing, because the ellipses is gone in part, Colette's saying, hey, like, you should just tell me what's wrong. And he's like, never mind. That's kind of more the vibe here. It's like, I don't want to tell you how I got this way. Ja-yi. It's like, well, never mind then. Just lower my fever. It's such a small balloon, though. Fine then, at least do something about my fever works too. We're missing the nuance a little bit, but yeah, it's a small balloon. Patron C. I thought you would find this rash disgusting. I take it you can help. Colette. It would be a lot easier if you would just tell me how this happened. Hades. Forget it then. Just take care of the fever. I like forget it then. That's a nice short way of, you know, expressing, well, never mind then, forget it then, just take care of the fever. That's really the vibe. I also like how Patron C made it a little more explicit. I thought you would find this rash disgusting. In Japanese, he's a little more vague. Like, I thought you would find me disgusting or whatever, but he's really talking about, you know, his skin condition, basically. I thought my state would unnerve you, from Patron B. I thought this would disturb you, is very vague, from Patron A. It's rather like, I thought my rash, I thought, you know, my skin, my state would disturb you. Patron D. I thought you'd be disgusted, but you can cure this. Yeah, I thought you'd be disgusted in what? It's a little tiny bit unclear. But you can cure this if you connect those two thoughts together. It's pretty clear he's talking about his condition. Colette says, it would help if you explained how exactly you ended up like this. And then, never mind that, just lower this fever. Okay, I like that. Never mind that. Forget that. That's the vibe. Just lower this fever. Okay. I have to take my squawking cat out of the bathroom again. Okay, so the next frame, Betty, the sound effect as she's like peeling off his sheet. Then she thinks to herself, kataku nada na. And then she thinks, nanika wakeari nano kashira. Then she thinks again, shoganai. Ah, shoganai, our best friend. And then she says, hada ga deteru toko dake akaku hareteru. Anerugi no tagui ka? And then she says, enshou wo osaete genetsu shite mimashou ka? Lots of medical terms here. Haha. And then let's look at this very, very small text. I will make it bigger so I can try to read it. Choudo oshin seto wo something something shite iru. So this is where, you know, I would look this kanji up the best I could, but I don't feel like doing that right now. So I'm just going to see how the patrons translated it. Colette thinks to herself, gu nu nu nu, and then sound effects, kacha kacha kacha, as she's mixing up the herbs and whatnot. So let's go through all that monologue / thinking section of Colette. Patron A. He's so stubborn, sound effects, lift, Colette thoughts. What could have happened? Oh well, the exposed skin is red and swollen. Is this some kind of allergy? Yeah, this is all bang on. I'll try to bring down the inflammation. And then the very small scribbled text, it's just like a complete doctor's kit. And then she goes, clink, clink. Yeah, the oshin setto is like a doctor's kit. Choudo, it's like, it's just like a complete doctor's kit. I think that's fine. It's probably correct. Let's see what Patron B did. Sound effect, reveal. That's very interesting. It's like a very linguistic way of doing Betty. Just peeling back the thing, just reveal. I don't know how I feel about that, but I mean, it is what she's doing. Peel might be a little better because she's like peeling it off, but Colette thoughts, he's a stubborn one. Maybe there's a reason he can't say. Yeah, wakeari is more like personal reasons, like he has a reason that he can't say something. Guess I'll do the best I can. Only the exposed skin is red and swollen. Maybe some kind of allergy. Let's get your swelling and fever down. That's very doctory. I really like that wording there. Let's get, and that's something a doctor would say. Let's get that swelling and fever down. Let's get your swelling and fever down. Clatter. Luckily, there's a full kit for house calls right here. Let's get down to it. Grind, grind. I do like grind, grind for the mixing of the herbs. Patron C. Stubborn, isn't he? I wonder if there's a reason he doesn't want to talk about it. Sound effect, whip. Whip for flipping the fabric off. That works. Colette, I'll worry about that later. I like I'll worry about that later. for shogunai. That's great. I've never actually seen shogunai translated as I'll worry about that later, but that's absolutely perfect for that. Like shogunai is often like translated as, I mean, the meme is it can't be helped. It's like there's nothing I can do about it now. And worrying about it now won't help me. I'll worry about it later. It's a sort of extrapolation kind of translation. I'm going to expand upon what was originally there. Colette says, only the exposed parts of his skin are red and swollen, some kind of allergic reaction. Let's work on reducing the inflammation and lowering your fever. Very similar vibe to Patron B's, but it's longer. Let's get your swelling and fever down. It says exactly the same thing. It has the same tone, but it's a lot shorter. Let's work on reducing the inflammation and lowering your fever is much longer. Clatter, clatter. Colette aside, good thing I had all my home visit supplies on me. Ooh, this is different. Well, the plot thickens. This is where knowing what that mystery blobby kanji actually is would really help us. Now, looking at the former panels of the manga, I don't think she had all of her supplies with her when she fell down that well. God, she did. She did. Okay, so regardless of what the blobby kanji says, I think I'm going to try to look up that blobby kanji in a minute just to know for sure. But even without looking at the blobby kanji, if you scroll back a few pages to the beginning of this chapter, you'll notice she has a box on her back when she falls down that well. Now, if you look in this frame here, when she's talking and there's the mystery blobby kanji here, what's she looking through? Her box that she had on her back. So I think, even without knowing what that mystery kanji is, I think Patron C is correct here. Good thing I had all my home visit supplies on me, because that's exactly what she's doing. She's not like, oh, they happen to have a doctor set here. They wouldn't have necessarily had a doctor set there. There aren't physicians there. And even if they did have that, she wouldn't have known what it was. So yeah, I do believe Patron C is correct here, even without knowing exactly what that blobby kanji is. Okay, and then Colette says, let's see, clink, clink. Okay. Patron D, still being stubborn. Flap for Betty. Is there some reason he won't tell me? No point in forcing him. Only the exposed skin is swollen and red. Some kind of allergy, perhaps. So let's focus on treating that fever and inflammation. That's a little bit similar to Patron C's. Let's work on reducing the inflammation and lowering the fever. Let's focus on treating the fever and inflammation. Okay, by using the word treating and applying it to both fever and inflammation, Patron D was able to tighten up that line a little bit. So I like that. Clatter, clatter. My medicine chest just happens to be fully stocked. Aha! Yep, another good translation of the line with the mystery blobby kanji. And then groan for that sound effect. Huh. Oh, goo-noo-noo-noo-noo, exactly. Groan. Yeah, it's kind of like a grrr sort of noise. Clink, clink. Okay, how did other people translate that sound effect? I think I missed that in the other ones. Let's see from Patron C. Let's get down to it from Patron B. And from Patron A. Wow, so many different things for goo-noo-noo. Goo-noo-noo. Am I crazy? I'm going to look up goo-noo-noo. Goo-noo-noo. Yeah, there actually is translations for it. Damn, drat, crap. Yeah. It's a sort of a kind of noise that you make. So it's not a let's take care of this. Patron D is most correct here with groan. Unless I am missing something and patrons B and C translated it differently and I just missed it. But no, it looks like let's see from Patron C and let's get down to it, exclamation point from Patron B. Yeah, I mean, it's not even the vibe. Let's get down to it is more positive and happy. She's really pissed right here. Okay, let me see if I can look up this mystery blobby handwritten kanji. So the way that I look up mystery blobby handwritten kanji, I first try to work out as best I can from context what it actually is. So yeah, going back to the previous panel and noticing, hey, that's the medicine chest that she had with her when she fell down the well. You can kind of glean, okay, good thing I had my my medicine kit with me. But this blobby kanji compound that I can't read very well, What you can do is you can go to, there are a few apps and there's also a website. This is just the one that I happen to use. It's not necessarily the best one, but it's just the site that I've been using. But basically you go here. This is a kanji that I drew in earlier when I was translating something else. But anyway, you can draw a kanji with your mouse and then it'll approximate what it thinks you drew. So I'm going to try to draw that top mystery blobby kanji. It looks kind of like the roof radical. And then it looks kind of like the kanji for arrow beneath it, but not really. So it's like this and like this. And then a list of possible kanji pop up beneath it that like, is this the kanji that you were looking for? Another thing that makes this sort of thing difficult is sometimes with handwritten kanji, people draw the reduced version of the kanji. So this could be like a simplified version of a more complicated kanji. And none of the results I'm getting here look anything like the kanji that I'm trying to look up. So what I would then do is I'd go to the second one and try to look that one up. So it's like this, and then there's a bunch of blobbiness in here. Okay, so this kanji on the left kind of looks like what I'm looking up. It's not necessarily the thing I'm trying to look up, but I would click on it. And then what I do is I go into jisho.org and then I plug in the kanji that I think I have and then a question mark for the other kanji that I don't have. And then I scroll through all the results and I try to see like if I can find a kanji compound that looks like the one that I'm trying to look up. That is one way of looking up fuzzy kanji. Thankfully, I honestly haven't come across this very much at all in my professional translation thus far. But yeah, because of things like this, you can easily see how it can take like a long time to look up kanji if it's handwritten like this. And sometimes it's more than your job is worth to like spend an hour trying to figure out what a very messily handwritten kanji in Bookwalker, where the image quality is not the best. Like even if I magnify it a bunch, I still can't tell what it is. Anyway, yeah, just look at the picture, you get the clue, and you can tell she's saying, good thing I happen to have my, my whole doctor's kit with me. And from the form that this is taking, if this were Colette talking, it would say like, chodo, my medicine kit, like it would end in yokatta, like good thing I have this thing with me. But like, see, since it ends in iru, ... I think this is actually an aside from the author saying she happened to have her medicine kit with her. So I think, like, after all this detective work, I think this is an aside from the mangaka, and I think the mangaka is saying here she happened to have her medicine kit with her, based off of all of this detective work that I have done, along with the help from some of the patron translations. As you can see, this is the bane of our existence. This small, fuzzy, handwritten, scribbled text with no Ruby text. Anyway, let's move on from that nightmare. Next page, Colette says in very small text, dekita. Thankfully, she said it in hiragana, so it's very easy to read, even though it's scribbled. And then she thinks, mondai wa kami-sama ni kiku ka douka da kedo. And then Hades goes, gu. And then there's the sound effects, zuki, zuki. And then Colette goes, ikenai! All right, let's see what the patrons did. Patron A, Colette's thoughts, it's done. The problem is, I still don't know if this will work on a god. That's all correct. Hades, hung. I'm not so sure about that choice, just because that's often the sound effect used for people having orgasms or being like sexually aroused. And he's not sexually aroused necessarily, I don't think. He's more grunting in pain. Ache, ache, ache for Tsuki Tsuki. And then Colette says, it's no use. Ikenai is more like, oh no, or oh crap. It's no use isn't exactly what it is, but that's a minor detail. Patron B, she says, all done. I just don't know if it'll work on a god. And then Hades says, gurk. That's pretty good. Colette, he's in pain for ikenai, and throb throb for Tsuki Tsuki. I like that a lot. He's in pain. Again, it's expanding on the thought, oh no, parentheses, he's in pain. Patron C, and done. Now the problem is whether or not these will work on a god. And then Hades goes, erg. I like erg. I use erg a lot myself. Sound effects, jolt, jolt. That's not too wrong necessarily for Zuki Zuki. Zuki Zuki is a sound effect of somebody throbbing in pain, basically. It's a sound of pain. So jolt, I suppose you could think of that as like jolts of electricity, but I don't know that it's so super clear. Colette, now isn't the time. I like now isn't the time for ikenai. It's a bit wordy for that small balloon, but it's not that small a balloon, and those words individually are all short and could be easily stacked on top of each other. Patron D, ready. Now to see if it works on a god. I like now to see if it works on a god. Like Patron C's, again, over wordiness. Now the problem is whether or not these will work on a god versus Patron D's. Now to see if it works on a god. It's the exact same meaning, but a lot shorter. And then Hades goes ugh, and then throb throb. Colette says no time. Ooh, I like that for ikenai. Again, it gets the intensity across, but it's short. Very nice. Okay. Then she's thinking to herself, mayotte mo shikata nai. Sound effects, ba. And then she's thinking, kikanakia kiku made shiraberu no yo. Let's see how the patrons did that. It's no use. Deliberating won't help. If this doesn't work, I'll find something that does. Yeah, that's correct. No sound effect of, no translation of the sound effect, ba. Patrons B, no time to waste. So again, mayotte mo, like, no time to waste, faltering. Mayotte mo shikata nai, no time to waste. Again, it's sort of an extrapolation of what the Japanese is saying. Sound effects bam for ba, that works. If it doesn't work, I'll keep trying. It's more like if it doesn't work, I'll keep trying until I find something that does. But if it doesn't work, I'll keep trying is shorter, just like the Japanese is short. Maybe if you add just, if it doesn't work, I'll just keep trying. That would make a little more sense. Patron C, I can't waste time worrying. That's very literally what it says in Japanese. And I don't mean literally in a bad way, like that's fine. If it doesn't work, then I'll keep trying until something does. And yeah, that's the translation of what she's saying there. It's a little wordy, given the space there, especially since the letterer is going to have to retouch this. I mean, not necessarily. It really depends on how much they're being paid. Ideally, this sort of thing would be retouched, though. So that means the letterer, like a good letterer, has to go in and like erase the Japanese text and then redraw some of the stuff a little bit and then write in the English text. So it's always nice to make it a little easier on your letterer by giving them fewer letters to have to put in there. Sound effects grab for ba. Yeah, what is she actually doing? Ba is another one of those sound effects that, man, it can go any way. There are so many different ways you could translate ba. It's just a big, loud, like, slapping sort of sound effect. But yeah, it can mean grab. It can mean bap, bam. Yeah, it indicates that she's working quickly, basically. So grab actually works in this case, like she's grabbing the medicine. It adds to the intensity of the scene. Patron D, no time for ikenai. Second guessing won't help. I'll just keep trying until something works. Ooh, I like that. Instead of doing the, if it doesn't work, I'll just keep trying until something works. Eliminate that first part. I'll just keep trying until something works. And then done for ba. I kind of like that. Good job, Patron D. I'll just keep trying till something works. And now my cat is meowing at the camera. It's not time yet, sweetie. Another half hour, okay? I know, I'm sorry. Okay, Colette says, ちゃんと寝てないでしょ? 今から寝てください. 今は休むべきです. And then Hades says, 今々しい. 体が思うように動かん. And then Colette says, 私をここに残したのなら少しは信用してください. ほら、目をつむって. ほらほら、おやすみなさい. Okay. How did our patrons translate all that? From patron A, Colette, you haven't been sleeping well, have you? Please try to now. What you need now is rest. Hades says, how annoying. Just like I thought, I can't move. That's not quite correct. Omou yoni ugokan, or omou yoni ugokanai means my body won't move the way that I think it ought to, or the way I want it to, is actually what that is. Colette says, you brought me here, so please just trust me. Come on, close your eyes. There, sleep well. Yeah, that part's fine. The only part that was really like incorrect was the karada ga omou yoni ugokan. Patron B. Okay, so Patron B did the order of this dialogue a little differently. Hades, my body isn't doing what I tell it to. It vexes me. I really like it vexes me. I love the word vex. I wish we would bring it back into our like current day vernacular. I really love the word vex. But yeah, it vexes me is great, not only because it uses the word vex, which is a great word for a god like Hades to use, but those words individually are all short, so they will fit very nicely in that small, skinny balloon. And my body isn't doing what I tell it to. That is correct for omou yoni ugokam. Colette, you're not getting enough sleep. Get some rest now. That's what you need. If you want my help, at least trust me a little. Come now. Close your eye. Close those eyes. There. Sweet dreams. I like sweet dreams. Because she is kind of talking to him like he's a child. Hora, oyasumi nasai. It's very like, there now. Come on, little Hades. Let's go to beddy bye now. Hora, ne o tsumutte. She is being very like motheringly here. And he's kind of being like a child. So I like that. You brought me here, so please just trust me. All right, patron C. You haven't been sleeping properly, have you? Try and sleep now. You need your rest. Hades, I hate this. My body won't do what I want it to. I hate this too for Ima-Ima-shi. It's also nice and short and would fit nicely in that skinny bubble. Colette, you must have let me stick around for a reason, so trust me a little. Go on, close your eyes. Good, sleep well. Yeah, this workaround with that second to last line, you must have let me stick around for a reason versus what patron B did of, if you want my help, at least trust me a little. We have some variety there, so we'll look at that later. Patron D. Hades says, my body refuses to move. Colette says, you haven't been sleeping, right? Stay in bed. You need to rest. And then Hades says, obnoxious wet wretch. Colette, since you're letting me stay here, just trust me a little. Shh, close your eyes. There you go. Sleep well. I like shh. Because, yeah, it's very like the kind of thing you'd say to a child. So since patron D changed up the order of the dialogue, almost all the patrons did this dialogue in a different order. And oh my God, shoujo manga in particular, it's often really difficult to tell like the order that the dialogue is going in, the flow of all the frames. It is quite difficult. The default rule is you go right to left, but you also go up, down. So sometimes even if a speech balloon is like to the left, if it's higher up, it will come first. So yeah, it's not actually entirely clear if Hades' line, karada ga omou yoni ugokamu, it's not entirely clear if that line comes first, or if Colette's line, chanto nete nai desho, ima kara nete kudasai, actually is the one that comes first. When I was reading it earlier, I did Colette's line first because I was going right to left. But if you're reading it as a reader and you're starting from that line up above where she's thinking, mayotte mo shikata nai, kikanakia kikumade shiraberu no yo, your line, your eyes will immediately, the next thing they'll go to is Hades' line right there. So I actually do think Hades' line comes first. Karada ga omou yoni ugokamu. And then she says, chanto nete nai desho, ima kara nete kudasai. And there is a flow there. He says, I can't move my body the way I want to. And then she says, I know why, because you haven't been sleeping properly. You need to go to sleep. And then he responds with ima-ima-shi, which again, like, if it's in that order, if the dialogue is in that order, then it does make sense for him to be calling her ima-ima-shi. If you're reading it in the other order, where she says those lines first, you have to go to sleep. And then he responds with, I can't move my body the way I want to, ima-ima-shi. In that case, the ima-ima-shi is in response to the fact that he can't move his body the way it is. So note how ima-ima-shi, this, an adjective basically, how differently it's translated depending on which line of dialogue it follows. Again, on closer examination, and just as a reader, I do think he says his line first, like, I can't move the way I want to, and then she says, it's because you're not sleeping, you have to sleep, and then he responds with ima-ima-shi. And then she responds to that with, hey, you left me here, so you need to trust me a little bit. Like, you let me stay here, I'd say, so you should trust me a little bit. Come on, close your eyes. I do think that's how the flow of dialogue goes. I think Patron D got it right. And so obnoxious wretch does work for ima-ima-shi. He could also call her vexing. You vexing wretch, or you vexing brat, or something would also work. But obnoxious is also really nice. So then that line she's saying, watashi o koko ni nokoshita no nara skoshi wa shinyo shite kudasai. Again, she's saying kudasai, like please, but she really is being kind of sarcastic and like, well, if you left me here, you let me stick around, so you might as well trust me a little bit. It's kind of more that vibe, especially following when he just tells her she's ima-ima-shi. She's like, well, dude, you let me stay here, so you might as well trust me a little bit. Patron A translated that as, "You brought me here, so please just trust me." That one doesn't have really much attitude at all. It's very neutral, but it's correct. Patron B's is, "If you want my help, at least trust me a little." That does have more of that attitude. Patron C, "You must have let me stick around for a reason, so trust me a little." That's a little, again, it's missing the attitude. And then Patron D, "Since you're letting me stay here, just trust me a little." That's also missing the attitude. I think Patron B is really the only one who got that attitude in there a little bit. "At least trust me a little." It does have that vibe. We have there, sleep well. There, sweet dreams. Good, sleep well. And there you go, sleep well. Yeah, I think that's all. It's a very, very cute moment. Again, she's being very motherly here. Okay, that was it for Let's Translate Manga, Colette Decides to Die Part 2. As I mentioned in the last episode of Let's Translate Manga, this is going to be my last episode of Let's Translate Manga for at least a while, for at least a half a year. I have some personal things to take care of in my life, so this channel and my Sarah Moon channel, the main one, are going on a hiatus until at least July. There's more details on a public Patreon post. But yeah, I really like this series so far. I might check out the rest of it on my own, just read it. I have heard raving reviews from fans of shoujo and josei manga that Colette Decides to Die is a great series. It has been fan translated, I'm sure, but not officially translated, so this would be a great series. If any execs from any of the English publishing houses happen to be listening, license this series. I think it's really nice. So as I said, both channels are going on hiatus for about a half a year, and so I will be pausing Patreon billing, but I would like to thank my patrons anyway for their support of this episode and all the other videos on this channel thus far. And I'd like to give special thanks to Data Fox, Greg, Henry Roaming, Jacob Bell, Lay Fam, Alexei, Cody Spence, Veleos, Brent, Matt Mack, Patterson Music, Roel, and Tony Hoyt. See you all in half a year, maybe. Bye!